Hi friends, I'm Sumat here. Today we're going to discuss geography, and this is going to be useful for the people who are preparing for KS and IAS and other competitive exams. Do like my channel and subscribe my channel, and let us get into today's topic: India geographical features and their impact on history. So it's a simultaneously it is a history as well as a geography lessons. Let us get into the topic. The geographical feature of India, the Himalayan mountains and their impact on Indian history, Gangetic plains and their role in Indian history, and the Gangetic plain and their role in Indian history, and Southern Peninsula and its effects on South Indian history, India's unity and diversity. These are the topics that we are going to discuss in detail. So it is generally said that history has two eyes. One is chronology and other one is geography. In other words, time and space are significant factor in determining the historical process. In particular, a country's geography largely determines its historical events. The history of India is also influenced by its geography. Hence, the study of Indian geographical features contributes to the better understanding of its history. The Indian subcontinent is a well-defined geographical unit. It may be divided into three major regions: the Himalayan mountains, the Indo-Gangetic plains, and the Southern Peninsula. There are 5 countries in the subcontinent: India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan. India is the largest among them, and it is comprises of 29 states and 7 union territories. Now that we have added 2 more union territories, that is 28 states and 9 union territories. According to 21 census, the population of India is over 120 crore. The Himalayan mountains are situated on the north of India, starting from the Pamir, the extreme northwest of India. The mighty Himalayan range extends towards the northeast. It has a length of nearly 2,560 kilometers and with an average breadth of 240 to 320 kilometers. The highest peak of the Himalayas, known as the Mount Everest, with a height of being 8,848 meters. It acts as a natural wall and protects the country against the cold and Arctic winds blowing from Siberia through the Central Asia. This keeps the climate of northern India firmly warm throughout the year. The Himalayan region is mostly inhospitable in winter and generally covered with snow. It was considered for a long time that the Himalayas stood as a natural barrier to protect India against invasions, but the passes of the northwest mountains, such as the Khyber Pass and Balloon Passes and Kurram and the Gomal, provides easy routes between India and Central Asia. These passes are situated in the Hindu Kush mountains and Suleiman and Kirdar ranges. From prehistoric times, there was a continuous flow of traffic through these passes. Many people came to India through these passes as invaders and immigrants. The Indo-Aryans, the Indo-Greeks, Parthians, Sakas, and Kushanas, Huns, Turks entered India through these passes. The Swat Valley in the region formed another important route. Alexander or Macedon came to India through this route, and apart from invading armies, missionaries and merchants came to India using these routes. Therefore, these passes in the northwest mountains had facilitated route as well as a cultural context between India and the Central Asia. In the North Kashmir in Karakoram ranges, the second highest peak in the world, Mount Godwin Austen, is situated here. This part of Himalaya and its passes are high and snow covered in the winter. The Karakoram Highway Gilgit is covered to Central Asia, but there was a little communications through this route. The valley of Kashmir is surrounded by high mountains. However, could be reached through the several passes. The Kashmir Valley remains the unique for it is traditional and cultural. Nepal is also a small valley under the foot of Himalayas and accessible from the Gangetic plains through the number of passes. In the east, the Himalayan extend up to Assam. The important mountains in this region are Patkai, Nagai, and Lushi ranges. These hills are covered with thick forest due to heavy rain and mostly remain inhospitable. The mountains of northeast India is difficult to cross. The many parts of this region had remained the relative isolation. An Indo-Gangetic plain. The Indo-Gangetic plain is irrigated by three important rivers, that is Ganges, Indus, and the Brahmaputra. This vast plain is most fertile and productive because of the alluvial soil brought by the stems of the rivers and its tributaries. The Indus rivers rise beyond the Himalaya, and its major tributaries are the Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, and Satluj and Bias. The Punjab plain are benefited by the Indus river systems. The literal meaning of the term Punjab is the land of five rivers. Sindh is situated at the lower level of the Indus. The Indus plain is known as its a fertile soil. The desert and Aravalli hills are situated between the Indus and Gangetic plains. Mount Abu is the highest point and 5,650 feet height, and the Aravalli hills. The Ganges river rises in Himalaya, flows south and then towards the east. The river Yamuna flows almost parallel to the Ganges and then join it. The area between these two rivers is called Doab, meaning the land between two rivers. The important tributaries of the Ganges are the Gomati, Sarayu, Ghagra, and Gandak. In the east of India, the Ganges plains merges into the plains of Brahmaputra. The river Brahmaputra rise beyond the Himalayas and flows across the Tibet and the countries through the plain of northeast India. In the plains, it is a vast but slow-moving river forming several islands. The Indo-Gangetic plain has contributed to the rise of urban centers, particularly on the river banks or at the confluence of rivers. The Harappan culture flourished in the Indus Valley. The Vedic culture prospered in the western Gangetic plain. Banaras, Allahabad, Agra, Delhi, and Pataliputra are some of the important cities of the Gangetic plain. In the ancient period, Pataliputra remained the capital for the Mauryas, Sungas, Guptas, and other kingdoms. The most important city of the western side of the Gangetic plain of Delhi. Most of the decisive battle of Indian history, such as Kurukshetra, Tarain, and Panipat, were fought near Delhi. Also, the plain had always been a source of temptations and attractions for the foreign invaders due to its fertility and productivity of wealth. Important powers fought for possessions of these plains and valleys, especially the Ganga, Yamuna, Doab, proved to be the most covered and contested areas, and the rivers in this region served as arteries of commerce and communications. In ancient times, it was difficult to make roads, and so men and materials were moved by boat. The importance of rivers for the communication continued till the days of the East India Company. The southern peninsula, Vindhya and Satpura mountains, all along with the Narmada and Tapti rivers, from the great dividing line between northern and southern India. The plateau to the south of the Vindhya mountain is known as the Deccan Plateau. It consists of volcanic rock which is different from the northern mountain. As this rock are easier to cut into, we find a number of rock cut monasteries and temples in the Deccan. The Deccan Plateau is flanked by eastern Ghats and the western Ghats. The Coromandel coast stands between the eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. The western Ghats runs along the Arabian Sea, and the lands between these are known as Konkan up to Goa, and beyond that as Konak. The southernmost part is known as Malabar Coast. The passes in the western Ghats like Junnar, Kehari and Karle link the trade route to the western ports. The Deccan Plateau acted as a bridge between the northern and south India. However, the dense forest in the Vindhya mountains makes this region isolated from the north. The language and culture in the southern peninsula are preserved intact for a long time due to this geographical isolations. In the southern end remains the famous Palkad Pass. It is the passage across the Ghats from the Kaveri Valley to the Malabar coast. The Palkad Pass was an important route for the Indo-Roman trade in the ancient times. The Annaimudi is the highest peak in the southern peninsula. Doddabetta is another highest peak in the western Ghat. The eastern Ghat are not very high and have several openings caused by the eastward flow of the river into the Bay of Bengal. The port cities of Arikkemedu and Mamallapuram and Kaveripattanam were situated on the Coromandel coast, and the major rivers of the southern peninsula are almost running parallel. Mahanadi is the eastern end of the peninsula. Narmada and Tapti turn from east to west, and other rivers like the Godavari, Krishna, Tungabhadra, Kaveri flows from west to east. These rivers makes the plateau into the fertile rice producing soil throughout history. The region between the Krishna and Tungabhadra, that is Raichur Doab, and remained a bone of continuation between the major kingdom of the south. The deltatic plains formed by these two rivers of their months and become famous under the Satavahanas. A number of towns and ports flourished in these plains in the beginning of the Christian era, and the Kaveri Delta constitutes a distinct geographical zone in the far south. It became the seat of the Chola power. The Kaveri basin with a rich and tradition, language and culture has flourished from the ancient times. As the southern peninsula is gifted with a long coastal line, the people of this region took a keen interest of the maritime activities. A great deal of trade and commerce went on through the seaways of the earliest times. In the east, mariners and reached countries like Java, Samudra, Brahma and Cambodia. Apart from trade, they spread Indian art, religion and culture in these parts of the world. The commercial contact between South India and the Greco-Roman countries flourished along with the cultural relation. India, a land of unity in diversity. The history of ancient India is interesting because India proved to be a melting pot of numerous races. The pre-Aryans and Indo-Aryans, the Greeks and the Scythians, the Huns, the Turks, etc. made India their home. Each ethnic group contributed its mate to the making of Indian culture. All these peoples makes it up so inextricably inextricably with one another that present none of them can be identified in their original form. Different cultures mingled with one another through the ages. Many prehistorians or Dravidian terms occur in the Vedic texts. Similarly, many Pali and Sanskrit terms appear in the Sangam literature. Since ancient times, India has been the land of several religions. Ancient India witnessed the birth of Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism, but all these cultures or religions intermingled with one another. Although Indians people speak different languages, practice different religions, and observe different social customs, they follow certain common styles of life throughout the country. Therefore, our country shows a deep underlining and unity in spite of great diversity. In fact, the ancients strove for the unity. They looked upon this vast subcontinent of one land. The name Bharatavarsha, or the land of Bharat, was given to the whole country after the name of the ancient tribe called Bharatas. Our ancient poet, philosophers, or writers viewed the country as an integral unit. This kind of political unity was attained at least twice during the Mauryan and Gupta emperors. The unity of India was also recognized by foreigners. They first came into contact with the people living the Sindhu or Hindus, and so they named the whole country after this river. The word Hindu is derived from the Sanskrit term Sindhu, and course of time the country came to be known as the India, in Greek the Hind, in Persian and Arabic languages. Efforts for the linguistics and cultural unity of country were made through the ages. In the 3rd century BC, Prakrit language served as the lingua and franca of the country. Throughout the major portion of India, Ashoka's inscriptions were written in the Prakrit language. Also, the ancient epics, the Ramayana and Mahabharata, were studied with the same seal of devotional throughout the country. Originally composed in Sanskrit, and the epics came to be presented in different local languages. Although the Indian cultural values and ideas were expressed in different forms, the substance remained the same throughout the country. Hence, India has emerged a multi-religious, multicultural society. However, the underlying unity and integrity and the plural characters of Indian society remain the real strength for the development of the country. So, after going through this lesson, you must be able to answer the geographical feature of India, the detail of the Himalayan mountains, the passes in the northwest, and how they were used by the foreign invaders and traders and migrants. The river system of Gangetic valleys and their impact on the historical events such as battles and emergence of urban centers. The southern peninsula, the long coast, which contributed a lot of maritime activities, and how India emerged as a multicultural society, and the same is successfully sustained over the centuries. And I leave some of the model questions, that is Alexanders of Macedon came to India through which of these passes and valleys, and the region between two rivers is called what, and fill in the blanks. The rivers Ganges rises in dash, the highest peak in the southern peninsula is dash, and I leave some match the following and find out the correct statement of one right. Okay, and state whether the following statement are true or false, and write short notes on Himalaya mountain, Deccan plateau, rivers of southern peninsula, and multicultural society. For 100 marks questions, write note that important of the Indo-Gangetic plains of the history of India and its impact, and brief descriptions describe the geography of South India, and assess the impact of their geography on history of India, and India is the land of unity in diversity, Ella said. So this will be really going to be useful for you guys. Do like my videos and subscribe my channel for more updates. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.